Okay, good afternoon traders. Welcome to TradeSetup and the live stream for the 5th of June. 5th of June already, so I hope we're doing well. I hope we had a great weekend. I enjoyed myself, so quite relaxing weekend actually. So not too bad. Markets today. Markets down a bit, which I didn't quite expect. There's a bit of turmoil over the weekend, and the US did push higher to a new all-time high on Friday night, so it wasn't too bad. And the payrolls were a bit mixed, with the unemployment actually dropping, I think, from 4.4% down to 4.3 or 3 to 2. I think it's to 4.3%. So that was actually good, but the payrolls come out a bit less than expected. But people forget that they're still putting on jobs, so I think they got revised down as well. So that sort of caught the market off guard slightly, especially after the previous numbers, I think on Thursday night, showing it was quite strong. But all in all, they're doing quite well. It's a good pace. The Fed Reserve in the US is quite happy with the pace of economic expansion or gains or whatever. They're doing quite well. So it just means that they're not going to be too aggressive on rate rises. So it was actually, I think the market took a bit of a pause over the numbers. It sort of just sat there for a bit and then started grinding high into new all-time highs in the US. So didn't think we'd be this bad today. Thought it might have been a bit nicer, but yeah, we're down about, I think we're down about 40 at the moment, so we'll take a look at that in a minute. What we're going to have a bit of a look at, considering what's happening around the globe, and we're struggling a bit in our market, we're just going to take a look at some gold stocks today. So I want to go through a couple. We've got a couple running as part of our alerts. They're going quite well, so happy with those. We'll take a look at a few others that we've got our eye on and what potentially could be playing out there. Take a look at physical gold, or spot gold anyway, see what the chart's saying on that. So anything you want to have a look at in the way of gold stocks, producers, explorers, whatever you want to do, just chuck them in the chat later on, and we'll sort of focus in on that today. We're going to go through, obviously, the usual, what the market's doing, what our alerts are doing, and how we're going. We're actually done quite well the last few days, even though the market hasn't been going so well overall. A lot of our alerts are kicking off, so it's good to show that when you do get the trend right and you're going with momentum, even when the overall market is down, they can really do quite well. So we're happy with all that, the action at the moment, which is probably is good. It's good. Anyway, how is everyone today? Anyone that's new or that watches this later on, you can follow us on Twitter. So I'll go through the usual motions. You follow us on Twitter in the top left-hand corner. Top right is our Facebook site there. Link into us on Facebook. And the bottom right-hand corner is subscribe to us on YouTube. So anytime we do something on YouTube, that you'll get an alert directly from YouTube saying we're going live when we start streaming or whatever reason. So we're going to start doing a few more little bits and pieces. Davin and myself, we do a meetup group. We did a video recently, a little presentation to them a while ago. So we're going to start getting a bit more active in that respect, and maybe just do some, as we go through, a bit more focused presentations as well. Just a bit on different topics. So if anyone's got an idea of what they potentially wouldn't mind looking at, feel free to send us through an email to support@tradesetup.com.au. All right, let's rip into it. We'll get the video up with my face. I'm all dressed up nicely today. I'm quite proud of myself. Wife reckons I look like a teacher, so she'd know being a teacher. Anyway, here we go. So we're up, down 41 at the moment, the XJO. So it's not looking the strongest, not looking the best. Now AFY, just while I'm looking at it, that's an alert we got going for a while. We just had a profit target hit at 295, but we'll see how that goes because it only just touched up there. A bit of volume went through, so if you had a chance to take a profit, take a partial exit on that, that's awesome. That's kicked on. That's about 15-16% at 295 from the entry of 255. So yeah, happy with that one. So if you haven't taken a partial and you are looking at it, probably just start to think about it now. It is getting a bit extended. It's had a good run up the last few days and it had another push higher today, so we'll see if they can pop on through. But if not, it's always prudent just to lock in some gains, and if you get those gains, great. And if it kicks on, so be it. Nothing wrong with taking a profit along the way. Drop pop. Yeah, we'll take a look at that. Actually, I should get gold up. Let's just take a look at the overall ASX. Well, the daily chart. We'll just have a bit of a look now. What's everyone else's view on that? I'm still the same belief. We'll draw it up. I mean, there's no reason. Just trying to get my head around my mic. My mic's that big. Sometimes I can't see my screen. My head's that big too. Let me just draw that up. So this is the XJO, the 200. Now, even though we're down today, it's not all bad. I still don't mind it at all. I still think it's holding trend up. You go, level through at 56. We've got these sort of. Oh, you can't see that one of these candles. I'm going to just magnify it, guys. That green candle's got a bit of a wick on it, which doesn't come up for some reason. Yeah, we'll just deal with this last bit. What's everyone else's view on the ASX? I know we've spoken about it a bit in the past. Keep touching on it. It's always good just to keep referring back, especially with what's happening at the moment, what's going on with the US, kicking on strong, we're struggling. It's always good just to touch on what's happening with the overall ASX. Okay, red day like this, should we be looking south and just exiting? I don't think so. And this is the kind of thing that sucks people in time and time again. Look at that little. So this structure here to me is looking quite good. Now there's a little bit of concern with it. It's pulled. We had this run up into 59, say 50 thereabouts. It had that little, that pop up, built a high low, pressed up into it, had a pullback, just washed out this recent high low, but the overall major trend is still holding. Had another push up to it and just took out the highs here, only by a few points. And then we've come south, built that lower high, but basically your longer term anchor is way down at 56. We've got an inside zone at 56.75. We've been looking at for a while, 56.75, and we had that 57. It touched down, it rejected there, built a lower high here, come and washed out that 5700, but it only got so far as 56.75 again. So there's a couple of little levels in play there, and then we pop back up. So for me, to be completely bullish, we've got to get through that, say 58, a touch below, was it 57.90 thereabouts. I actually think we're going to hold that zone, especially after this little washout. Today is not the best price action, obviously, and it'll be interesting to see how it goes, but generally the longer term trend is higher. The weekly's higher, the dailies are higher. It hasn't broken trend just yet to the upside. So this type of price action, okay, we may be getting a bit long in the tooth as we're up at these levels, just below 6,000. But there's no reason why we can't have a bit of a pullback, build that high low, and then just blast through 6,000. It could still be very, very positive. So just keep an eye on that. We've had a good leg up right basically through to last over a year. Started 2016, touched down those lows. That was that oil kerfuffle when oil was getting creamed. Starts the year, sell off, and then bang, just head higher ever since. So 6,000 is a major high at the moment we're in contending with. I still think we're going to pull back and just build that high low and then go. Not in a bad zone on a weekly either. See where the stochastics are, tongue twister. It's actually come down, so it's got a bit of selling pressure, and you can see that selling pressure with the stochastics into oversold territory. It's holding up really nicely on the weekly. It wasn't like this kind of sell-off when you got that push down. That was quite, and you could see we've gone from about 59.50 down to 57, 150 points. This initial sell-off, if we can make that a bit, that's not good. I just want to show you what I'm talking about. This initial sell-off, so 56 down to 52, that's 400 points. Stochastics, the pressure wasn't quite as strong, but the movement was a lot harder. The movement south was a lot more intense, I guess. But what you're seeing here, the movement hasn't been too intense, so that it's a bit more bullish. But it's been, so in essence, the same sort of pressure pushing down, it's getting held up. It's not as big a move. So it's looking quite good. We'll just have to see how that goes. The daily, the daily's looking good. I still think we're going to get a bit of this type of price action, that grinding higher. We may retest back down, or we may just build a lower high somewhere around 57.50, 40, thereabouts, and then pop up. We'll see how we go. Yeah, we've got the UK elections, so that you can see why the FTSE's been struggling a bit. We'll just kick over, have a look at the overall indices. FTSE is there. You can see it's just the US is kicking higher. The FTSE's just starting to struggle because it's got a week away. I don't know exactly the day, but I think it's sometime this week, or maybe on the weekend. This weekend coming. So that's probably going to cap it a bit. There's going to be a few things Whereas the US are just blatant bulls. They just love going high. It's great. We struggle a bit, and the FTSE's sort of a bit quieter now coming into the elections, and especially after the polls in the US. They're having different polls are saying different things in the UK. Some are saying May's got a significant lead. Some are saying that she's not. So it's a bit. It's just thrown. It's probably good for the markets. It's a bit jumping around. It's just left people a bit undecided, uncertain on what's going on at the moment. So especially over in the UK. That looks good. Dow. I like the Dow. Let's just get in on the last year. Actually, 6 months. That price action's great. It's kicked onto new highs. We're on a weekly. We're on a daily. Last few days, I think it was Friday night when it just kicked into new highs. What would we say? The Dow, FTSE. That's the S&P 500, the bigger, broader index. Kicking on nicely to 2440, touching up to those highs. So that's what we've been following for a while. If you're following the alerts, it just keeps squeezing people out on the short side. And there's always someone anticipating a bit of a rollover, trying to guess the market, and it just keeps having a bit of a pullback, drags them in, and then squeezes them back out again. So it's just that fuel to continuously rinse and repeat, rinsing them back out of the market, pushing to new highs, having a bit of a pullback. You get the people again jump in short, and the shorts are loaded well and truly, especially on the retail side, well and truly loaded up on that, especially on the E-mini. What else? We've got the DAX. We'll take a quick look at the DAX. DAX is up to all-time highs again. They had that little pop-up. That must have been Friday. It just touched up to recent highs and finished below. Is that right? 12,832. Yep. So made new highs, new all-time highs in the DAX on Friday. And then finished. It must have just finished below. So that's still looking quite good. That price structure as well and truly heading higher. So it's all looking quite good. Just see what our other alerts. So AFY, I just mentioned that before. We'll see if we can kick through 295. That'd be beautiful. Just trading 295 now, so just keep an eye on that one. That's looking great. Actually, I'll just get to a bigger chart. Is this a bit easier to see, guys, on obviously the bigger charts? I can get our... So AFI is one we got. It's looking great. GOLD, we'll take a look at that a bit more in depth later. That's kicking on nicely. That price action looks really good. Really like that. We've got Monadelphous. That's kicking on nicely as well. That's kicking on. That price structure, if you go back, that price structure looks great. You can see it's had that little run up, had to have a deep correction, pull back, consolidated a bit, and then started holding these higher lows through the highs again at 12, or give or take $12. It's built that higher low through here on a weekly basis, a good part of a year it's taken, a few months at least, and that's heading up again. That's heading in the right direction, looks great. That price action looks really, really nice. Monadelphous OGC is another gold one that's going nicely. We're getting up into a bit of a zone there around that 470.75 where we probably see a bit of reaction off there, but it's holding higher lows into it, which is always nice. Nice to see. If we can get through that, if we can have a bit of a blast through that, then you'd expect it to trade up to those highs. And again, that has that price action there, looks really nice. I spent a lot of times a bit choppy through here, but holding higher lows since about 2013, long time ago. Push up, started 2016, right up to 575. Spent the rest part of the year pushing back down again, retesting the support zone through 350, and then it's holding higher lows again. That's really good. So that price action looks great. What else do we have? Shorts versus long on spot gold? No. Can't see that. It's just what we like to see. You get a bit of when we say that we know that people are coming into the market, selling into the market. It's more that you're looking at the price action. I mean, here when you get these lower highs, you know that the people are starting to come into the market, sell short, and especially when you've got a market extended. Generally, you get your retail traders, anyone that's trying to make a quick buck, will happily jump in and try to preempt a move down, and that's what we're talking about when we see that. Shorts are starting to stack up. It's more of an educated guess that they're starting to stack up. We've got some other signals we look at that we're keeping to our chest, keeping close to our chest. Excuse me. but just a bit of a Google search and have a look around. So that, I guess what I was saying with the S&P, if we just quickly, you can see this type of price action. When you get this type of price action, especially when it's within, say this for example, this is where we'll just draw it up to give you an idea of what we're looking at. That's probably not the nicest. All right. Is that clear there, guys? The chart fairly clear there, or is it a bit tougher to see? Yeah, we can draw that up there. So you can see here you've got a key level. All right, that's 20,000. The market's chopped up higher, pulled back, had a bit of a wash out of these lows through here, down to 2,000, and started accelerating higher. And it started rolling over here. So we know when it gets through, sort of say that level, when it's popped, it's through there, it's pushed back up, built a lower high. So we know from there we're starting to drag in some sellers. People are starting to take advantage of that, but it's still holding up above a key level at 2,000. So we know by looking at that, when it doesn't break a key level, it's just contraction and it's just sucking in the sellers. And just really just getting ready for a fuel to start heading higher again and the next leg higher, because it's not breaking any serious any strong support levels, any major structure zones. So that's why we're looking at it. Now, if this market come down here and busted through that 2,000 and then started popping up, it may be a different story altogether. Then you start seeing a lot more sellers starting to stack up, and then the overall direction of the market changes. But because it didn't, we just go back to here. It's only got so far as, that was probably about a 50% retracement of that leg up. All right, so that's when we see that type of price action, all holding above a key anchor level, we call it, to the uptrend, then it's looking good. And then you can see the market's just pushed up, consolidated through here, but still hold. And then that would have sucked in a few sellers and then started washing them back out. Then you get this type of price action again, lower highs, lower lows, lower high, started holding up. That's just sucking in some sellers, but it's still holding that trend higher. Does that make sense there? And that's sort of the way we interpret it. We know that they're starting to get stacked up on the sell side. Really, and that just for us, we love seeing that, especially when it's holding up above a key zone, because we know that those people who are selling it are going to get squeezed back out of the market, and it's nice fuel just to kick on higher. Back over to just what we've got. I mean, MND great, OGC great. That's probably about SKC. Well, let's just pop back down. We got that about 428. Might have been a couple of days ago, so it's still hanging up there. Got to 436 today, so that's nice. I expect that to keep going. It's really nice price structure. It spent time consolidating through here, went to retest the lows, pulled up short, built a higher low, popped back up quite strong. So it's good price action. Struggled again through here, went back down to test this previous low at 340, and then bang, straight through these highs. So that's nice price action. And then you see this move back, some lower highs, lower lows, but it's more contraction, but it's still holding above a key breakout zone around that 390-95 zone, and then started picking up from there. So that looks great. Really like that. I think that's about all we got, to be honest. We've got 6. I've gone through it. SHL is another one that's kicked on quite strong. It's just getting a bit of reaction up at these highs, previous highs. If you can see that. The previous highs back here, just above 24. I think it's 24.12. Don't know. High 16, 24.16. So it reacted off there. That was Friday. Opened up quite strong, went straight through those highs, washed it out a bit, and then it's just pulled back the last couple of days. Today it's just sort of holding up at near these highs, but it'd be interesting to see what happens from here. A bit extended up there, but there's no reason. Look at the price structure. That price structure again is awesome. It's had a good strong leg up, higher highs, higher lows, all the way up to just below 24. Had to wash out a few of these late buyers, started holding higher lows again, pushed back up through 24. Another pullback to wash out some of the late buyers back in here, rinse them back out, and then holding through here. So that's beautiful. That last, pretty much through 2017, end of last year, start of this year. That price section through here in the weekly, which is that, looks great. So I like that one. SHL. There you can see the buys and sells live. I like that for commodities. But yeah. Never heard of that. Cryptos. Poloniex cryptos. Oh, that's interesting. All right. All right, let's get into looking at gold. So any questions on just what we've got there, guys? Anyone that follows the alerts? Like I said, we're happy the way they're going at the moment. Really happy. I think they're kicking along nicely. We've got some good ones running at the moment. This is another one. I just want to point something out. This is an MVP. We followed this for quite a while, and we haven't alerted this for a long time now, but I've personally got this, and I don't know if Devon may have it too. We like the stock longer term. It looks really good. Some really good news flow behind it. So just go and Google MVP, Medical Developments International Limited. We've done quite a few alerts on it, a long time ago. But that, you can see that price action had a good pop up, and it's done nothing since then. But the last couple of days, a couple of big strong days, and today it's come out with a nice little announcement. So for anyone that tells me that the news doesn't get to certain ears who buy it prior to the announcement, so there's sometimes all the fundamentals that you don't know. That shows up on a chart, but that sort of thing won't show up in the fundamentals once you're doing your research. So it's interesting stuff. Yeah. But anyway, that's just me. That's mates telling mates the inside scoop. When was that? That was Friday, Thursday. So Thursday it lifted up. It was good. Friday had a big day, and then it came out with some good news today. So interesting. Anyway, keep an eye on that one though. Longer term, I think MVP. Just keep an eye on that. It's got a good story, doing well, and they're just waiting to get something patented. Keep thinking Penthrox. Penthrox is their flagship drug, and that's going through the US patent system, or not patent system, so approval system. I think it's got a fair while to go, but they're doing well around Europe, around Asia. They've just gone, doing really, really well. The fundamental business is great, so we like that one. All right, let's get stuck into gold now. Now, is there any? Let me just get we're following a couple here. So we've got our little list. If you can see it down here, we've got DCN. I can't even say that. Dacian Gold Limited. Dacian Gold. Pronunciation is not the best. Dacian Gold, that's DCN. We've got SAR, that's Saracen Minerals. So these ones we've had on the list for a long time now, and it's only recently we started to. Obviously, it's doing quite well. We've got taken a bit of a liking to gold, back to explode. Oh, I hope so. That'd be great. Who's got some gold stocks? Who's been putting it away in their portfolio, or who's been watching them? We started talking about this a while ago, just to keep an eye on it. Excuse me, I have to just get the coffee into me. But we do like it. There's a few here that we like. Like I said, Saracen, Northern Star, like that. But we'll just go through the technicals in a minute. Now, I'm never quite sure which ones are which, what they've got in the way of whether they're a producer or not. Oh, come on, let's do that. So Saracen's Mineral Exploration Development. So you just got to go through, do a bit of research on those, see which ones are actually producing, so they're more susceptible to the movement in gold price, or which ones that actually have defined the resource, sort of what stage they're at. If they're not producing, they're still more in just exploration. Are they into spot? Actually, yeah, I forgot about that. I'll go over spot, just what the gold price I'm looking at the moment. So with your stocks, just go through that. It's always good to know, because some will move better than others. When gold's going gangbusters, is heading higher, you'll find it's probably more the producers that are moving quite well, because the other one's more news driven, and you don't know when that news is going to come out. If they chucking a few drilling a few holes in the ground, then you just sort of really just sitting around waiting to see what the results are going to spew out. So they're the ones that go into exploration, and once they started popping a few holes, got some really good results, then they're trying to define their resource, their JORC resource. Once they define that, then you know what they've got in the ground, and you can put a value on it by the price of gold. So that's when they'll start, going. I think go quite nice, going a bit better. Now where is my chart? That's what I'm looking for. Let's just get over it. We'll start off. We'll have a look at gold, spot gold. Just get a chart up here. Excuse me. I've still got that cold and just a bit of a cough. The whole family's got it, so DRM. We'll have a look at DRM too. I'll just remember that. Now, this is a minute chart. Let's just go look at the daily. Yeah, so gold. This is the only thing that's sort of a bit concerning. I'll get out of it. So I still think gold's going to pop up to that resistance at 12.93. It's getting there, but this price structure, if you're looking at, I'll just go back a bit. I don't mind that price structure at all. You know, it's popped down, it's pushed all the way down. So you go from left to right. You can see that. Yep, it popped down to 11.70, say 11.80. Popped back up, built that lower high, washed out those highs, but that's not, you know, unlike this price action you're seeing here, just sold off really hard. Okay, bang, and then we started getting the buyers, started slowly drifting in at lower prices. That's nicer price action, is more controlled, and then we've had a nice push up from that 10.50, 10.55, right back up into this level at 13.87, and then we've had another push down. So potentially this is a nice longer term higher low that's building just in here. We'll just mark that up. So if that's the higher low, and we may get a bit choppy here, but start holding, you know, these shorter term higher lows, that could take us up. You know, we could just extend through that 12.95 and start pushing all the way back up into 13.85. Now, if that's the case, then obviously gold's going to look good. So gold stocks are going to look great. It's still, that trend up is pretty much a good part of most of this year. It's pretty much pushed down into December, start of this year, December last year, made those lows, and then we've been making higher lows since most of this year. So it's doing quite well on the daily. If we just drop it down to a 4 hourly, we're getting a bit extended up here. There's no reason why it can't keep going, obviously. Now we had that's the 4 hour. This is a 4 hourly chart. I've already marked quite a bit up on this. So it's probably looking a bit messy. Sorry, guys. That's better. All right, so that looks good. You can see that we've sort of measured this leg up here, and you can see it's chopping around and retested the highs, had to retest the lows, and it started building another inside high low at 12.54. So we've measured that leg up, and that's taken us basically right up into that high at 12.93, which is good. I think that looks quite nice. So if we can just continue on up, and you can see these holding high low again at 12.59 or 12.60 after that pop up through the previous higher highs, just in here, popped up through, come back down and retest it, another good solid higher low, and had a nice explosion up to where we are now, around that 12.80 zone. So I think maybe we're going to come back down. We're getting a bit extended up here, so maybe a bit of heat, hold another higher low, and then go. That could take us back up to 12.93. So it's looking great, and I really like the look of that price action, the look of that structure. So if that's the case, then we should see some good action on the upside for some of these stocks. So if we just go through one at a time, we'll start with. I just saw the comment, man. Lemon and honey. Yeah, chew on garlic. I love garlic. Always cooking with garlic too. Thanks for that. I like that. It doesn't matter. I mean, even with a cold, I've been doing a bit of exercise. I went for a swim this morning, run the other day. Not too bad. It's just that the chest is a bit harder. It makes things a little bit harder. So, anyway, where are we? Gold. So our gold stocks. Let's just quickly go over Will's one. DRM. Put DRM here. Oh, that's good. When did you buy that? So you bought that today. That's good. Let's just look at the weekly. The thing is right down here. Geez, when it goes, it can really go, can't it? You can see it's, I'd say where it is here, it spent a lot of time. You can see these, the stochastics, there's been some buying in here. Buying starting to pick up, so that really strong move down. What, do you know what triggered that move there, Will? By any chance? Why that's really ticked off? Yeah, let's draw it. I'll quickly draw it up and see what we see. See what we find. It's just a daily. I'm not going to worry about the weekly. Alrighty. So obviously the high is way up here. There's no significant. You've got these little minor lower highs in here. Yeah, they're not. Bit of it's been that selling pressure is very hard, and it, obviously I don't know what's ticked it off, but anyway, it's quite hard. And you got these lower highs held all the way, making new lows, and when sometimes it spend a few days here, and then bang, a few days just got absolutely poleaxed. Bit more consolidation through here, and then it's been a bit more gradual since then. You can see these moves down have been quite sharp. They're quite sharp as opposed to what we're seeing now. You can just see, that's more that as opposed to that. The steepness of that move down is a bit less. That's probably a stupid way to put it. Does that make sense, guys? So you can see there's a bit of heat, and we've retraced, say, from 122 down to 55, so 50%, or even more, over 50% of that move up. It's probably more than that because it's probably started a bit later. So quite a bit of retracement back there, and then you can see that buyers are probably through here starting because the steepness of been or descent is less, so buyers are starting to step in. So really what we're looking for here is that support zone to hold up. It's just today and yes, probably Friday. The last few days have been quite good. It's just popped up through that 32. I think your key level now is going to be a bit of a problem, is 40. So if we can actually say that's 40 and that's 28, so that's support zone there. It's nice. We've just get rid of that. Don't want to see that. We've come down into there. That's just moved down, popped up quite solid. So that I like seeing that too. That's different to what we've seen in the past of any sort of buying pressure. It's been quite strong. Popped back up to 40, and then we gradually pushed down. Just washed out the lows. A bit of choppiness through here. That's what we like to see. And then we've just popped up. We pretty much retested that high at 40. Probably what was the high today? 39. So yeah, enough. That's good enough. What I'd like to see from here, if it pops its head through, that's great. And then you probably find it might back and fill a bit of a pullback, I'd say. And then you start holding a high low, maybe somewhere. It's just that retest of around that 35 zone, maybe retesting that breakout through there. And then if you can see some high lows build, I think that's going to be on for young and old. It's going to be good because especially after it's popped through 40, that would be great. Great to see that. If it doesn't, it could still do the same type of thing and then build a higher low, and that's going to drag in some buyers. You're going to see some confidence build, especially after a bit of a minor washout through here. Solid buying through there. The selling is not as strong. Buyers are soaking it up, and then we've got this pop up again, quite strong again. So another quite strong leg up is starting to see that you can see the flow or the change in sentiment between buyers and sellers. Sellers are running out of steam, obviously they would, coming from 122, and buyers are starting to see this as a better value or for whatever reason. Yeah, that looks good. So either way, I don't see trend line. Yeah, it's just popped up through there, I guess. That's probably the best one. To me, it's not. It's just these major levels I'll be working off from there. But it's looking good. Good work, Will. Does that make sense what I'm saying there? Just what that price action I'd be looking for. If I wasn't in it, that's what I'd be looking for. So you just got to keep your keep it close, I guess. Keep it tight. Keep it tight. Anyway, where are we? Gold. Back to gold. So DCN. Just trying to get these up on a better chart. DCN, you can see it's had a lot of consolidation through here. After a nice strong run up, we just couldn't take out those highs again. And anytime you can't take out highs and you start trading towards a key level, which was $3, especially off this lower high, you can see a lower high through here. Pop back down. Just was looking at that stage as potentially holding a high low in here, very minor. It's just the way that retraced from those highs at 390 all the way back down to say 310, especially after a good run up there and you're struggling through this period, and then you start popping up, retesting those highs. That's your lower high there. That's a very negative, I guess, sign where if you were holding it from way back here, you'd probably look at least taking some off, or if you're late to the party and you got in around here, you'd be a bit concerned at that stage, and you'd probably just want to book something. And that's generally what's happened. So you've got that sell-off down to $2 through $2, pop back up, and then we've headed back down and we've taken out that low at about $1.80. So really now we want to see a higher low build, and that's ideally what I'd like to see. But that price action, if you go back to the weekly, it's warranted. It's had a good move up through 2015. It started picking up. 2016 really accelerated higher as gold kicked up. And then with all that heat's come back out of that market. We've had one leg down, a pop back up, another leg down, but we didn't take out that, in this on the weekly basis. The move down from say $3.90 down to below about $1.80, quite a good, solid, strong move. Probably about 50% retracement of this move up, just about, give or take. Pop back up, built another lower high there, but we've taken out those lows, but not significant. And then we've got the last few weeks have been quite solid. So it'll be interesting to see how Saracen goes. Saracen, DCN, Dacian Gold. Okay. It'd be interesting to see how it goes. It consolidated through here. Then we've got another little sell-off down to those lows at 150, and we pick straight back up again. So when we pick back up here, that's not a good little sign. I'd like to see it pop up through. I'll just draw it. I would like to see... We've got sort of that level through 310. I'd like to see it, spent some time just sort of bouncing around in here, sold down. So we're just back up there now. I'd like to see it pop through, then build, maybe spend a bit of time holding through there and building that high low for a potential push, accelerated move higher. Because once you pop up, that's really a good heads up that, okay, this one's on the move. It's potentially heading higher, and you're getting, well, that's probably not exactly right. So the highs through here, 380, if you take it across the highs, we haven't quite broken out just yet, so I think potentially I'd like to see it pop up, just come out of that contraction, and then hold some high lows through here. That would be awesome. All right, does that make sense? What else we got? We got, let's look at EVN then. EVN's on the move. I like that. But put it in context of what's happened. If we just go back to the weekly... I don't know what always. So you've had that. So we had this big consolidation through here. Bang, 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 bang. It couldn't get through. It struggled. Got sold off through 2013. Consolidated through here. Through those lows. I know it's good. About 60 cents consolidation through here. Then had a big, strong run up. But really, that's still holding trend higher. So it's busted up and through that major resistance that it couldn't get through previously. Busted straight up through that $2, had a good run up, that was last year, and a lot of heat's come out of that market, but it's still holding trend. You can see that on the weekly basis, and we've just got through that, say 250 zone. Probably popped through it the other day, and we just got through it, I think, today. If we just go back down to the daily, yeah, just opened up above it today, so that's looking good. It's holding some higher lows. It's looking nice. Like I said, that structure's looking good. It's probably starting to get a bit far away from the MA, so you might find that it has to pull back a bit and then build for a move higher. May pull back to the MAs, a bit of reversion to the mean. I get that one. I like that now. That's one of Davin's comments, and I really like that. It makes a lot of sense. So if you just look at it that way, may get a bit of that, or it could just, there's no reason why it can't just keep going it like this leg up and just start to build it, because it's still done a fair bit of work around through here. Spent a fair bit of time, good part of 2007 after this strong sell-off, popped back up quite strong, pull back, built a higher low, pushed back up to 250, pulled back, built another higher low, and it's just popped through 1250, so there's no reason, we might get a bit of reaction around that 260, 65 zone. But there's no reason why it just can't go bang straight up and through that highs at $3. So it is looking good. It's going in the right direction, which is what you always like to see. Yeah, so there's this one. I'm one of those blokes, I like to see a bit more. I don't particularly like, how am I trying to explain this? So you can see this move down, being quite strong down to, what was it, 160. Bounced quite strong off that too. That was quite a good reaction off that level. And then this little move down here, I would have expected to build a better base, but it's actually just, it's doing the opposite. It's just had a good strong move up. So buying is really, it's just turned on a dime. Good selling, lower highs all the way down to 150, 60, sorry. And then it just turned and it just reacted quite, V-shaped recovery off that. Bang, straight back up. pulled back, built a higher low, it's popped back up through to 250, pretty much through the high, or just retesting those highs, holding that higher low. I would rather see a bit more. I don't know how you explain it. I'll just show you if I can. Actually, let's just go the new one. This is your daily. So the price action, I mean, that's nothing wrong with that at all. Don't get me wrong. I just find those ones a bit harder to buy, especially when it's getting a bit extended away from the MAs, where it's sort of this upper zone, on the stochastics, a bit in overbought territory. So that coupled with these strong moves, I would rather see pop up from here. I would rather see a bit of a pullback, wash out, just flushing out a few people, potentially pulling back and retesting down to 210 to say 230, and then getting this higher lows. I just like to buy it from a lower level. I mean, that's just me. Probably on the other side of the MAs, that sort of price action when it consolidates through here, holding some minor inside higher lows. Does that make sense? That's what I love to see, because it holds those inside higher lows. The weekly is still looking fantastic. The daily has washed out a few players, a few of these longs that might have bought it on the breakthrough there. Just say that's probably from here, that sort of move down. It's washed them out, but it's still holding the long-term trend. I'd like to see that type of price action rather than just buy it here and just think it's going to keep going up. And I find that a bit tougher. Does that make sense? Because then you're going to work off these minor levels for me. I'd rather, buying it here, I'd have to have a stop just below 240, which is that minor higher low on this leg up. And on this leg up, you're getting towards the end, potentially. It's had a few little lower highs. You're getting potential towards the end of that leg up. Does that make sense? But in context of this overall action, that's just one leg up in that overall action. So I'd like to see that and then go. But anyway, what else we got? Did I just talk about GOR? No? GOR is another good one. We'll go to the weekly because the weeklies look good. That's up at near those highs at 75. And that's pretty obvious, but just looking at that, here we go. That trend. I'm doing it again. It's annoying me. I like having a bigger... Has everyone seen these charts okay? Or is it a bit tough to see on this? The candles anyway. You can see the general gist of it all. The candles might be a bit tougher to see. So we just say there's a lead, through 80. Got that double top potential at 75, which is just falling a bit short of 80. You've had a leg up that's been pretty much uninterrupted. You can see that leg up there from 50 to 75. So quite a good gain on that. It's pretty much uninterrupted, and we're coming up into a resistance zone. They could just extend that and pop up to 80. It's only 5 cents. It could easily do that. And then, like I said, I would probably be looking on this one for a bit of a pullback and build that higher low on the other end, because it's just come straight from lower highs. You got it. Oh, but then again, you've got that price action. This is a weekly, isn't it? Double bottom there, built that lower high, pushed down, washed it out, and then just turned around and reversed. So, but all in all, it's clear what it's doing here. It's holding that trend up. It's gone all the way down and just turned around, holding higher lows. So structurally, that's still looking good. It's really just searching for the entry and searching for the entry on a daily basis. So in the context of what's happening on the weekly, we just skip sort of that. Oh. Chart's fine for me. Perfect. It's still looking good. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. You've got these high lows in here. I would just like I said, a bit of heat. No, that's probably not the right level, is it? I think the level is up at 75. So that's a major resistance zone. Like I said, I'd just like a bit of heat to come out of that. Build a major higher low. It's probably not even any different. Major higher low, maybe pulling back. Maybe down to 66, which is down here. If we just pull back, retest that holds. Excuse me. And then, I think that's going to take us and just smash us through 75. But like I said, just the way this has gone up without the price action that I like. This is a hard one to say. They've just turned and they've just gone straight back up. So I'd rather see, yeah, a bit of a decent pullback, a decent correction, maybe down to 62, and then holding some high lows and then going from there. But I mean, there's nothing to say this thing can't just keep going. But if you bought it from here, for me, my stop would be around 65 because that's the most recent high low. Because if it doesn't get up through these highs at 75 and head towards 80, then it's probably going to have a deep correction, and then you don't want to be in that deep correction just holding all the way through it. You want to come out the other end, say something like that when it's had a deep correction, wash out, build a high low, and then buying on a breakthrough, a nice level on the other side of it after you've seen a good complex correction. All right. Is there any other gold stocks you want to chuck up there, guys, that you want to have a look at while we're focused on gold? I think we've gone through the bigger names. I mean, SPM, they're looking fairly similar. Had that good sell-off down here, and then it's corrected, and we're holding high lows. So, that's heading back up. We could be heading right back up to 370, back to those highs. That's St. Barbara. Still that's looking quite good. It's just these candles here on the weekly anyway. It's starting to look a bit of rejection up there. That's probably not the most prettiest chart, but that's still going the right direction. Northern Star we've looked at, that looks good. Yeah, they've all got a very similar price action. Newcrest. Newcrest would be interesting if it can hold a more major high low in here, and then you're getting back on the way up, and then you're targeting back up towards these highs at 25.50 and even 27. That's ideally what I'd like to see there. That's about it. NCM. Oh, there you go. Just looking at that now. Let's draw it up. I like this price action though, and we're on the weekly. And I'll tell you why I like that. This is just suggesting to me that it could have a bit of work to do on Newcrest, but just looking at this recent price action, and there's a few years here anyway. So we've got the highs, market up, right up at 43. Had a good sell-off, bang, bang, bang. Some minor you can see that sort of running out of steam. Bit of correction. Went to go again and held up through this high low, pretty much through 9. Had a bit of a washout through here, and that led to a move up. Pull back, another high low through 11, and that's led to a nice strong move higher up to 27. And here, this is corrective action. So if we can just draw that through here, pretty much just spent quite a bit of time through here just correcting, washing out the lows, popping back up, building. It's just through here, it's just consolidating, it's just building, holding higher lows, which is, it's not getting out of hand to the upside. So I like that. That's really nice. But it's just this last move up that's really started to accelerate. And that's been a nice strong move up. Then pulling back, washing out, getting, that lower high in here with a high low. But this here, potentially, I'd like to see, I think we've got the potential just to back off from 26. I'd like to see that high low holding there. So if this makes sense, so that's these legs down there. Push back down. We've had this little minor pop back up. So at the moment we're right here. Is that making sense, guys? That's that. All right, so we're here. Oh. I'd like to see it sort of pop back up and then hold some higher lows. Does that make sense? Maybe, and then you can see, then ideally you get, if it consolidates through there and holds some higher lows, then you've got a nice little entry prior to this high at 26, which you could target easily, and just that's a nice little platform to build for a new leg up. And after all this price action, good solid move up through there. It's washed out quite a few traders in this leg up. It's holding above that 17, and that's going to be above 17 to potentially be a nice major high low, and then work a new leg up, and that's going to accelerate through 26, even through those highs at 27, and then you could look for that type of leg up again. I can't really measure it. It's somewhere, say 34, for instance. Does that make sense? The way I've analysed that, but it's looking good either way. But I think it's just got a bit more work to do. I'd like to see it do a bit more work just to convince me what's happening, whether I'm right or wrong. I mean, because this could easily from here just go bang straight back down, back into this zone. But it's probably not as likely considering what we've looked at on gold, physical gold, what's happened on the other stocks. Anything else? Does that make sense there, Philip? Probably got no more coffee left. All right, let's now why am I looking at Galaxy? So I just got something that's ticked off. Let's not worry about that. Yep. Cool. So is there any other gold ones that anyone has? Just we'll quickly look over. Market's down 50 points at the moment. Banks are not too pretty. The down date, Westpac's just taken out the previous low. Just we'll keep an eye on this. Like I said before, we've marked. It's been sold down quite heavily. Look at the weekly. You know, that leg down doesn't look great in context of what we're looking at there, but in the weekly, it's still potentially in a zone to hold a higher low in context of this major at 28. We'll see. That's Westpac. CBA, again, that similar type of structure. Spent a lot of time through years, 2016, banging in between 70 and $80 a share. Pushed up out of the zone. That's a nice strong move up. Only up until the last few weeks ago, where it's been sold off quite hard. But even a nice sell-off and all the negativity around, the weekly MAs are still up. It's just on the other side. It may hold up in here, build a higher low, then you go down to the dailies for a potential entry and then move up through 87.50. But we'll just have to see how that goes. Probably got a bit of work to do first. Like we said, NAB. NAB's not looking quite as pretty to me. Yeah, not quite as pretty, but anyway. And ANZ, how does that look? ANZ a bit the same. Yeah. There's no reason why that's just a bit of heat coming out of the market and it starts holding. People start, nibbling away at it again, and it builds some high lows, and away we go. All right, guys. If there's no other goldies you want to look at, if there's just something quickly that you want to have a bit of a look at that's not gold, could be anything at all, feel free to whack it into chat now, just before we decide to call it a day. Just having a look at what we're doing here. Ones are following OGC. OGC does look good. FY still trading at 295. So OGC, sorry, AFY, what am I talking about? AFY keeps nibbling away at 295. That's probably going to go through that soon. We'll see how we go. BSL's backed off today. So here's just one. Just look at the price action of what's happened on BSL, for example. I don't mind that price action at all. I don't know if anyone's got BSL at all. Paul, I don't know if you're listening, but I think you might have it. I'm just looking at this price action when it's just kind of weird. I mean, it's just something to take note of. That price action, that structure looks good. I like it. Yeah, there's nothing to say. It's had good corrected off that 350 highs. I forgot the weekly. The weekly's had a good strong move up. We're in a potential zone where that could easily be a higher low. Look what we've done here. It's had a good leg up through pretty much mid-2015, all of last year, and the start of this year. It got up to 1350, backed off. So potentially that's a continuation zone in there on a weekly basis, all lining up quite nicely. Dailies line up quite nicely. It's just these couple of candles when they've opened up, sold off all day, opened up higher, sold off all day. It's just showing a bit of selling coming in. I'm not saying anything's happening, but it probably, if you're looking at buying, I mean, I was looking at it at one stage, but I've just sort of held off. Just want to see what's happening. I want to see the green candles. If it's going high, I want to see it go from a low to a high and push up during the session, not push down during the session, open up high and then push down again. Anyway. We've got one from Dav. Dav, what do we got? CAJ. Kaj. What is Davin's interested in this one? Oh, he knows how to pick them. Okay, so I don't mind this one. I know Davin's obviously does like it. And I'm probably I'm guessing why he likes it. That's not very nice, is it? I want to get to just there. All right, so this is a week. Well, let's just go to the day. That's probably even worth looking at. Daily, okay. Capital Health Limited. That looks good, actually. Well done, Devon. So Devon's just letting everyone know he doesn't own this, but does like the structure of it. And I'm probably guessing why. Now, correct me if I'm wrong on what you're looking at. You've had this move down into a zone where we get about 11, 12. Oh, let's just draw up these lines. And then it's moved down to here. It's been a few days and then bang, shot straight back up. And that got up to around the 22 mark. And then it slowly worked its way back down again. So this type of price action, I like that. And I'm pretty sure Devon's probably likes that as well. The way it's reacted up off that zone, obviously something's happened. Maybe something's changed. Maybe a good announcement. They've restructured, whatever it may be. And then it's worked its way down. It spent a lot of time working its way back down and just washing out that previous low. Didn't do too much. It only got down about a cent or two. And then it's worked its way off. And that, I might change back to blue. That there is holding higher lows, and it's working all the way back up. And it's pretty much just about to retest those highs at around 22. So that price structure looks good. You can see that holding higher lows. So then there's a chance that once we get up here, if we start popping up through here, it may just back off again and then hold a high low. Maybe just do a lot of work around 22. So what you're going to get is people that expected it to do this type of price action again may just wash out. They don't take notice of if it does pop its head up above 22, 23, above that resistance zone. And that's different to just falling short. Because anyone that's negative on it would probably sell it prior to hitting that 22 or sitting on the offer, at 22 or 21 and a half even, just ahead of it, just to lock in some gains if they've got some gains through here. So that if they were very negative on it, you would expect more of that top price action. And just you're pushing up and then backing off from there. Whoop, it looks horrible, doesn't it? I'll just draw that a bit nicely. Backing off from there with a lower high and then maybe working its way back down and then building from there. Oh yeah, I haven't got the volume on that. So Devon was saying the volume on this move up is actually increasing. So it's good. It's good to see that volume increasing. It means that you've got a lot of previous buyers have been washed out of the market here. We're starting to get people step up to the plate and starting to buy as you get increased volumes pushing up as we're pushing up into that resistance zone. So like I was saying, if we get that type of price action opposed to that, I like that better. When it pops its head through and it may work back in, but do a lot of work around that 22. And I think anyone that's probably waiting for a buy around at 15, 16, if it's holding up around those highs and it's got a strong move up and just starts doing this, then I think it's going to start looking to accelerate because it's holding the highs rather than a deep correction and then building to go. Does that make sense there, guys? Dave, do you agree? If you don't, tough. I'll speak to you later about it. Anyway, probably too many coffees. So that one, I like that. That looks good. Good one, Dave. Excuse me. All right, I'll probably call it a day there, guys. I hope that helped, and I hope people... I hope you enjoyed that on gold. I think there's definitely some good ones to look at and really keep an eye on it, but I think there's some action starting to play out in gold. MVP, there we go. Geez, that just kicked up about 5 cents a second ago, didn't it? So that's the one we spoke about earlier, medical developments. That's just probably took off 10 cents. That's great. That's good. So, thanks for joining us, guys. I enjoyed it. We'll be back in on Thursday again at 12:30. Again to 1:30. So if you have any questions, I'm not sure what we can talk about just then. It'll be just a general, talk about charts and about the markets and what we see. So just be ready if you've got any nice positions you want to take a look at, something that's perking your interest a bit, that you want a bit of an opinion on, whack it in the chat. Even if you've got some, about time. We've been holding this for a long time, so Dave and I just sitting here twiddling our thumbs, but the story's awesome. But anyway, yeah, like I said, if you've got anything, even if you want to talk about some of your entries, and it may be hard hard to say on over the chat, maybe feel free to send through a chart. If there's a chart that you want to look at that you just want to, CSRO deal looks great. If there's anything that you want to talk about that you want to mark up on a chart, send it across. If you don't mind people looking at it, we can put up or just do it anonymously. Sounding like my wife, I can't speak. Anonymously. Put it through and then we'll go through it. It's always good. It's always good to improve what you're looking at, to get an idea. I mean, once you mark up and it's clear what you've done and where you've traded it and when, get another opinion, even if you're lost on it. And I remember doing that with Dav a long time ago, many years ago. I put through the charts and it's good to hear him say, it was a great entry. It just didn't work out. It's always good to hear. So feel free to do that, guys. Like I said, thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back on Thursday. Enjoy your day, and I hope the markets go well for the next few days. See you then. Bye.